on and sit on the porch. Ooh, butt all twisted and everything. Y'all come and sit on the porch. Did I say porch? I meant to stoop. In Bed-Stuy, we say stoop. But that just tells you what kind of day I've been having. Come sit on the stoop. Thank you so much for tuning in to the final episode of Bed-Stuy Brownstone Stories, where I give all the praise and honor to the LGBTQ plus community. Like I said, in my 20s, I had a close relationship. The woman who helped me the most in my 20s was a transgender woman named Martin. She hadn't gotten that far to change her name. All she got was the blockers, the shots that I remember, or maybe it was the hormone shots, but that's all she can get. And then I'm going back to 1980s, and that's all we could do. And I forgot about it over the years, but I always had an interest in the community. I always wrote letters for things about the community, always wanted to know what the community is about. And I couldn't remember why I wanted to know what would make me have that interest. What in my life I had forgotten that I had Martin. And then I worked at the UN Plaza Hotel, and I had Mike, Leilani, Ducky. And then over the years, as I produced my plays, I didn't discriminate. You could act, you were available, I wanted you. Non-binary, I didn't care. But I couldn't understand where I got this attitude from when everyone said, "Oh, you're not supposed to be gay," and they used to just like shake their head at me. You know, they couldn't understand, and I couldn't understand either. But you wasn't going to talk bad about the community. But I couldn't understand why I was defending the community. And then maybe a year and a half ago, when I was thinking about, oh, you're working out, you're looking good, you're thinking about getting a mate, what kind of mate would you want? And it came to me, I would want a transgender woman. And I was like, girl, you done lost your mind. What do you mean you want a transgender woman? What you talking about, Willis? And then it came back to me. All those years ago, I had to look back over 40 years. Oh, my bestest bestie in the world was a transgender woman, Martin. And she didn't make it out. She didn't make it out of the AIDS epidemic nor the crack epidemic. And people forget that they ran neck and neck. So then I said, and I remember listening to, I love T.S. Madison. Love T.S. Madison. T.S. Hope. T.S. I want to say Blaze, but I can't think her name. I knew her name just as good. She's on with Sherry Shepherd. Oh. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. But I love them all. I have been very instrumental in being a mother to 2 little gay boys that just wanted to be out here living their life because that's the way it is. And I helped in any way register from school, the whole 9 yards, yada, 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 counseling, yada, blah, blah, blah. And again, I couldn't understand what this was coming from. Just my overall human nature, my kindness. But now I know it was something much more. So Martin touched me in such a way that I always supported the community, even when I didn't know why I supported the community. I always loved the community, though I couldn't remember why I loved the community, but I know I should love the community because the community loved me. And every time I would hear someone say, well, black women don't like gays. That thing would set me on fire. I'd be so angry. I was like, I know you ain't talking about me. I see these little black spots over here. Oh, it's, okay, okay. Oh, okay. It's the gate on the other side. Anyway, I'm just so happy that I had a chance. I had to come on. And it's only, like 4 or 5 episodes, but they're out there on the ethers. And when you talk about hating transgender and hating the community, and you talk about black people, my name and my face ain't in your mind or your mouth. Because that's how I think. I love them. And I love my Martin. I love T.S. Madison. And every time, and like I said, this is Pride Month. That's another reason why, so they wore me out, but I had to come on because it's Pride Month. And I want to remember the ancestors because Martin is not here anymore. She got caught up in the pandemics. We had 2, crack and AIDS. My little gray boy that I helped out, he went down too. He got caught up in the AIDS. And I want to say, this Pride Month, if I don't never see another Pride Month, I am on record saying this Pride Month that this African American, or as I say, Black American, she never had no problem with the community. So when you say that all and we don't like and we know we don't point out, no. That's why I wasn't liked in the cults. I control my own mind and I control my own thoughts. And maybe that's why Martin was there for me. So I just want to put that out there. But we got to finish up my play, Cyma Versa. Now, Cyma Versa is a 1-act. It runs like 50 minutes. It's a 1-act play. I condensed it into, it could easily be, a full play, but I condensed it. So it's a lot of stuff missing out because it is a 1-act play. And I wrote these in 1993. And I was at SUNY doing a playwriting course. And I couldn't understand. I had 2 plays with lesbian themes. And I couldn't understand what would make me write that and why it came to me so quickly. I had a play about me and my daughter moving into Greenwich and how our bodies had gotten to Greenwich, but the money ain't get there yet, and they loved that. But that wasn't it. Instantly, Cyma Versa, 1-act play, and Lee to Eat, 1-act play. Came just like that. Lesbian couple, lesbian, boom, 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 boom. And I wrote it out. I did it at the Henry Street Settlement and at the Village Gate. And then I didn't pursue it because my family members were strong into the cult. And they started looking at me kind of side-eye and funny. They looked at me a little side-eye. I think, in all honesty, I just shoved the plays away. I didn't do them. I didn't develop them. I didn't produce them. I had a wonderful director who was all in. Our problem was we couldn't find lesbian actresses and we couldn't find lesbian actors or actresses. And just the whole thing. Like I had other books, I had other plays, I had screenplays that I wanted to get out. I didn't want to be labeled as just the lesbian playwright, and I'm not lesbian, I'm strictly dickly. But anyway, um, I didn't want to be labeled as that. So okay, let me keep it real. I was ashamed. I was proud when I did it at the Village Gate, proud at the Henry Street Settlement, proud of the audience reaction. But because of my own family's reaction, which I shouldn't have let happen, but I did, I put it away and I didn't develop it. And it wasn't like I said, like maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, that I started saying, well, who would I like to have for a mate? You know, and then it came to me that I would, you know, like to have a transgender gentleman as my mate. And I gotta see if I can get rid of the dog. Okay, okay, let me see. Let me see if I can get rid of the dog. Do y'all hear the dog barking? I do. I do. I do. So, let me do this right fast. Here. Yes. Okay, let me see. Let's see if that takes care of Barky. Okay, so I decided, like I said, I just put it together. And then, I'm thinking about, because that was a memory. Those years with Martin was obviously a memory that I shoved away. Because I couldn't go around, hey, do you, when I was young, my best friend was this transgender woman. I would clear the room, especially with those cold people I got, honey. So, and then also, what I like to bring out during Pride Month is that a lot of times when we as straight people or cis um, connect with the community, we are treated bad too. We are shunned. I used to take a lot of abuse. But I really like Martin. I really like Shane. I really like Ducky and Lalani. Beverly, and all of them. So I took the abuse. But be aware of that too during Pride Month. That people who love the community take a lot of heat too. We got to pick sides too. So, and life is a transition. And life is a transition. It's an awakening. You find words, you put words to situations that you didn't have words to before. Yes, the situation happened, but you didn't know how to talk about it, but you didn't have words to put to it, or you were afraid to put words to it. And I just want to go on records. That's not my issue. This Pride Month, I'm so happy. When I look at TS when she's home and I see TS Eve in the back, Miss Eve, I am very happy and very grateful. And I'm reminded that everybody had someone to support them. These lights is hot, child. Yeah. Oof. Everyone had someone who supported them. Everyone has someone who had their back, especially in the community. And let's not forget, even the girls, the transgender girls that are being killed left and right, they got our backs because they're out there living proud. They out there living their inner truth of who and what they are, and they're proud. And don't want to forget them. Don't ever want to forget them. No, no, no. You lived your life. And of course, they came and they cut you down, but that's what they do. But I just want to go on record. I feel so good. The LGBTQ community, this black woman has loved you since when she was introduced to your community as a 21-year-old girl, a transgender who loved being a woman. And she said, I love being a woman. And I said, what? I was taught to hate being a woman. She said, no. Being a woman is wonderful. And she was right. She was right. It took me time and education, but she is so right. And I think only uneducated women are ashamed of themselves or ashamed to be a woman. They Adam's rib. But an educated woman, oh man, she is beautiful. Okay, so going back to the play, we're going to finish it up. And it's a little long on this time, and I do want to finish it up. Because like I said, it's very hard. Right now, at this situation, it's very hard for me to do Bed-Stuy Brownstone stories. So maybe for the summer, I'll try again in the fall. But where we left off is the place Cyma Versa. Cyma Versa is about a lesbian couple living in Brookline, Massachusetts. And they're going about their lives. And the daughter comes and says, I'm getting married. And his family has to meet you. And you can't be a lesbian. You need to be a woman. And you need to get rid of your lesbian mate forever, because this is 1993. You could not get married. I think the community should remember that. And the community, I just want to segue, should be very concerned about how those white people in God's court switch Roe versus Wade. You got to be careful how the God judges, not the God people, the God judges. They judge you with the eye of God. And they just came back and said, no, Roe v. Wade, no. So they can also come back and take away everything for the community. And they will. That's what they do. I'm so glad I'm closer to the exit than the entrance. So the play, going back, I'm not going to get off topic again. And she came home and she told her lesbian mother and her life mate that she's getting married, and the parents of her fiance needs to meet them, but cannot meet them as a lesbian couple. Her mother must be, who's a butch now, must be a femme lady, and she called the dad to come over, and they're going to act like a couple, like they've been married all along, just a normal couple, no lesbian stuff going on, because the fiance's family is a prominent reverend in the community. So we're picking up the play is cabaret style. So lights down on stage, lights come up on Jeffrey McCrae. Jeffrey is the fiance. I just can't believe I'm getting married and having a baby too. For so long I thought no woman would want to marry a reverend son, but her fears were worse than mine. Her mother is a lesbian and lives openly with her lover. Tomei is so beautiful. I would go to the library just to see her. She never noticed me. Then I got up the nerve to ask her to dinner, and she said yes. We went to a nice Italian restaurant. I bored her to death talking about architecture and, okay, talking about architecture. The next thing I know, Tomei and I are in a motel making mad and passionate love. Her soft, warm body touching mine, her soft, beautiful lips kissing mine. Well, anyway, I don't ever want to lose her, even if it means losing my own family. Lights come up. Tamaya, would you like some punch to drink? All. Yes, thank you. All is um, Reverend McCrae and his wife, Jeffrey. Um, Tamaya and Bernie exit. The Reverend, he whispers to his wife, my career is ruined. Sister McCrae, she whispers to the Reverend, it's the bishop that was caught in an undesirable situation. She removes a bag of candy from her purse and eats it. And I should say eat one. Anyway, Reverend, he screams, undesirable! He lowers his voice. Undesirable. He was arrested. Jeffrey kneels at his father. Jeffrey, Dad, it has nothing to do with you. The Reverend, they raided a homo bondage club and the bishop was found inside naked. As soon as the press gets a hold of this, I'm finished. Everyone will be laughing at me, especially the gays. Sister McCrae, she's a piece of candy. I can't wait to eat. The Reverend and Jeffrey look at her. Jeffrey, to the Reverend, you can't know everything about everybody. The Reverend, I know everything. I know that I have spoken out for the Methodist Church against the gays taking over Clearwater, Massachusetts, with the bishop's blessing for over 10 years. The Reverend, he stands. Lesbians on the Clearwater City Council, a homo mayor, devils. That's what they are, devils. Sister McCrae touches the Reverend's hand. Sister McCrae, she speaks while chewing on a piece of candy. Quiet down, Henry. The Reverend, I wouldn't be caught dead within 2 feet of one of Lucifer's devil gays. Bernie enters carrying a tray with glasses, followed by Tamara. Bernie, she speaks in her high voice. Sorry it took us so long. Bernie walks around with the tray. Everyone takes a glass. The Reverend, thank you. The door opens and Rose enters. She's dressed in a man's two-piece suit, a newspaper tucked under her arm. She has on a low afro wig and a beard and mustache on. Rose, in a deep voice, honey, I'm home. Bernie drops the tray. Tamaya holds her head. Jeffrey hides his face with his hand. Rose opens the closet and throws the newspaper in it. She walks over and kisses Bernie. Rose, she speaks in a deep voice. Oh, you must be the young man who's taken away my darling daughter. Rose extends her hands to Jeffrey. He looks through his fingers at Rose. He stands and shakes her hand. Rose squeezes his arm. Rose, she speaks in a deep voice. A little loose. You play football? Bernie picks up the tray and exits into the kitchen. Jeffrey, no. Rose, she speaks in a deep voice. Football would make you a lot firmer. Maybe one day we could play a few innings. Rose winks at Jeffrey. Tamaya falls into her seat. Rose walks to the Reverend. Rose, in a deep voice. Reverend McCrae, sir, it is an honor to have such a distinguished gentleman in our home. She extends her hand to the Reverend. He stands and shakes her hand. She jerks his arm hard. Reverend, Mr. Brown? The Reverend rubs his arm. Rose, in a deep voice. It's a pleasure to have such a renowned warrior in my home. The Reverend blushes. Rose, in a deep voice. We men got to stick together against those gays. She stands in front of Sister McCrae. Rose, in a deep voice. My pleasure. She kisses Sister McCrae's cheek. Sister McCrae. That smells like beautiful by Estee Lauder. I love it. Bernie enters the dining room. Henry McCrae. Lights go down on set. Come up on Henry McCrae. Henry McCrae. What is going on in God's world? Women fornicating with women. Men fornicating with men. Soon they'll be telling us that Jesus was a woman with male hormones sporting a dress. Now I don't care what you say. I know what the problem is. Now everyone wants sex to be enjoyable. It ain't supposed to be. A husband and wife has sex to procreate. It ain't supposed to be fun. Now there are lesbians in my rooted, proud family. Bones are shaken in their grave. Oh, good. Now there are lesbians in my rooted, proud family. Bones are shaken in the grave. From my great-granddaddy, Reverend Horace McCrae, to my daddy, the Honorable Reverend Henry McCrae II. But this is just my challenge from the Lord. But I'll straighten them out. No, I ain't a hating man. I'll save those poor devil's souls if it's the last thing that I do. I am a warrior for the Lord. My fight is to save our future. If this poison called homosexuality is not stopped, particularly lesbianism, we'll lose the mothers of the world. Lights go down on Reverend McCrae. Come up on the scene in the living room. Bernie, dinner's ready. The table is set with plates, bowls, and bowls. Tamea walks with the Reverend and Jeffries to the table. Sister McCrae puts her bag of candy in her purse. Rose stands by the fireplace. Sister McCrae, that is a beautiful painting of the Mona Lisa, not the original, of course. Of course, Rose in her deep voice. Thank you. The painting is a replica, but the frame is unique. Bernie to Tamea. You sit here to Jeffrey, and you there to the Reverend, right here next to your wife. Sister McCrae walks over and touches the picture frame. In a deep voice, Rose. It's solid wood, hand carved. Rose unhooks the picture and shows it to Sister McCrae. Sister McCrae, it is beautiful. Reverend, this is very lovely china. He looks at the bowl. I can't make out what the design is. Rose to Sister McCrae. It's not that heavy. Okay, Rose to Sister McCrae. It's not that heavy. She's looking towards the dining room. Reverend. He examines the bowls. It looks like two naked women. Tamea. She examined her bowls. No, they look like dolphins. Jeffrey looks at his bowl and holds his head. The Reverend checks his jacket pocket. Sister McCrae. Sister McCrae to Rose. It looks heavy. Rose. A big buxom woman like you can hold it. She gives Sister McCrae the painting and walks into the kitchen. Sister McCrae, she struggles with the painting. Mr. Brown. The Reverend. I can never find my glasses when I need them. He pets his jacket pocket. Here they are. He puts them on. Now I'll tell you. Rose enters with a pot. Lucy follows her. She pours soup into the Reverend's bowl. Sister McCrae. She is on one knee. Oh wait, Sister McCrae. She's on one knee. Back with the painting. Mr. Brown, I don't think I can hold this any longer. Rose hands Lucy the pot and serving spoon. Lucy serves the soup quickly and exits to the kitchen. Rose rushes to Sister McCrae and takes the painting and leans it by the fireplace. She helps Sister McCrae stand. They sit at the table. Lucy enters and quickly removes Sister McCrae's and the Reverend's bowl. Bernie removes the rest of the bowls from the table and stumbles on her way into the kitchen. Reverend, Mr. Brown, that's what they're calling Rose. Mr. Brown, you have a very nice house. In such a den of iniquity, how does a man like yourself live around these devil gays? Rose, the rent is cheap. Reverend, well, I guess that's something. What kind of work do you do? Jeffrey and Tamaya look at Rose. Rose, I own a plumbing supply store. Bernie and Lucy enter carrying plates of food. Bernie, dinner's ready. Bernie walks Bernie walks to Rose and drops her plate in front of her. Lucy serves the others and exits. Bernie sits down. They eat. Sister McCrae wipes her lips. Sister McCrae, Tamaya never said what church you're with. Bernie, Mount Zion, Rose, Ebenezer. Bernie, we visit so many. We're members of Mount Zion Church. The Reverend, I visited that church. I don't remember seeing you. Bernie, we do a lot of missionary work. Rose, I was reading in the newspaper today about the bishop. Bernie, I mean, Bernie, darling, I'll show it to you later. Jeffrey jumps up and removes Rose and Bernie's plate. Rose drinks her water. Tamaya collects the rest of the plates and exits. Reverend, you can't believe everything you read in the paper. They're all run by those queers. Rose, she stands. Now listen here, you. Bernie, she stands. We can have our coffee in the living room. Tamaya and Jeffrey enter and follow them to the living room. They all sit. Sister McCrae, we think it's wonderful that your daughter wants to marry our son. It's so hard to find such a decent boy. Rose, it came as quite a surprise to us that she'd want to marry a man. I mean, like your son. Jeffrey is sitting in the in chair. Tamaya is sitting on the arm of the chair. Jeffrey, we love each other. He hugs Tamaya. Sister McCrae, no offense intended, but I don't think your daughter is good enough for our son. Rose, no offense taken, because we think your son will never be the man enough for our daughter. Reverend, good. So the wedding's off. Tamaya, she says, no, it can't be. I'm pregnant. Sister McCrae, that's the oldest trick in the book, girlie. Jeffrey, it's true. Reverend, I knew that girl was a slut. Jeffrey, he holds Tamaya. Father! Rose jumps up. Her beard falls off. She retrieves it quickly and presses it back to her face. Rose looks at Bernie. She stands. The Reverend stands next to his wife. Bernie, to Sister McCrae, I'll punch you in your nose. Sister McCrae, she stands. I don't want a girl like that raising my grandchildren. Jeffrey will find a decent girl to marry, someone like his mother. She smiles. Bernie punches the Reverend in the mouth. Sister McCrae kneels by her husband. Rose holds Bernie's hand and they sit. Rose, she speaks in a normal voice. Lucy, quick, bring in some ice. Bernie, Tamaya, I'm sorry, but this is it. Bernie removes her wig. Rose removes her wig and beard. Tamaya, no, mother, this is it. Tamaya runs out the front door. Sister McCrae and the Reverend look at Bernie and Rose. Sister McCrae eats a piece of candy. Jeffrey helps the Reverend to the couch. Jeffrey, Tamaya, to the Reverend. We'll elope unless you people get it together. He runs out the front door. Reverend, hand, hands covering his face. I'm ruining my career, my family, my future family. Sister McCray. Henry, we're losing our son, our only boy. Reverend, to the enemy. The whole world's going to hell in a handbasket. Lucy enters the living room carrying a tray of ice, glasses, a pitcher of water, and napkins. She sits it on the cocktail table. Rose puts the ice in the napkin and holds it to Bernie's hand. Lights fade. Scene 8. 2 weeks later. Lights come up in the living room. It is the same as the opening scene. Sound. Rushing at the door, key turning. Bernie. After you, dear. Rose enters dressed in a blue Southern bio dress, gloves, hat, fanning herself. She curtsies. Rose, why, thank you, kind sir. Bernie enters wearing a black tuxedo, white gloves, and top hat. Rose puts her hat and fan in the closet. Bernie gives Rose her hat. She puts it in the closet. Bernie looks at herself in the mirror. Rose watches her. Bernie, God, I'm handsome. Bernie sits and removes a cigar from the ceramic cigar holder and lights it. Lucy enters carrying a tray with a tea set on it. She is dressed in the same as the opening scene. Rose, she closes the closet. That was a beautiful wedding. Bernie, if it cost enough. Rose sits next to Bernie and pours a cup of tea. All you think about is money. To Lucy, thanks, love. Bernie, no, I don't. Don't you have to get ready for work? Rose, Lucy, I think that wedding was nice for 2 weeks of planning. To Bernie, don't you? Bernie, I'll even out. I don't have to pay for their last semester. Her husband will. She puts her hands behind her head. Rose, May's white gown was beautiful, just beautiful. Lucy, what about Jeffrey? Rose, oh, who cares about him? She sips her tea. Bernie, to Lucy, get me a drink. Lucy, yes, ma'am. She rolls her eyes and goes to the portable bar. Bernie, one day I'm going to kill her. Rose, did you see that dress Sister McCray had on? Bernie, that tint? They laugh. Rose, and the Reverend. Bernie, did you see him in the bishop garb? Rose, he looked like a queen. They laugh. Bernie, Bernie, being married to that water buffalo will do that. Rose, she put her head on Bernie's shoulders. Everything went well. Bernie, my daughter is happy. Rose, in 7 months, we'll be grandparents. Bernie, she puffs on the cigar. I hope it's a girl. Rose, we'll dress her in pink lace. Bernie, yeah, and we'll take her to the park. Lights fade. The end. Ha ha ha! And that is the end of the reading of the one-act play Cyma Versa. And I want to thank you for tuning into Bed-Stuy Brownstone Stories, where we have a conversation about the community. I want to give honor to all those warriors in the community that have walked before us, kicked open doors. When I said us, we're all just people in the end. It doesn't have to be like that. Anyway, I'm glad the spirit of Martin, I hope if I touched him in some way, that he knows that I've never forgotten her. I've never forgotten what she taught me about loving myself, about makeup, fashion, though you can't tell. but I haven't got it. I haven't got how she taught me to love myself as a woman. And this human experience is wonderful because just so many people in my life and so many people who I've connected with. So for this Gay Pride, for Pride Month, I want to say thanks so much. Thanks so much. I'm trying to get us back up and going. I'm trying to get us going. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to try to be back in September, but I don't know. It's a little rough. Yes. I just got to do autoplay. Okay. Ha ha ha. Whew. Thanks for coming through. And happy Gay Pride Month.